Now, where did that go, Natalie? Throwing stuff at me. Oh, my gosh, Natalie.
It was a paper clip. You're okay.
I know. I don't know where it went, though. Might have set off my pacemaker. We don't know.
Ugh.
Party time, Mom. Heart attacks for everyone. Heart attacks for everyone. Oh, what a week. So much going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You just look at me like you're trying to figure out what I'm about to say.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh, Natalie. You know what I did over the weekend?
You went to Oklahoma.
I did show after show after show after show, and when I thought I was done, I did another show. We did shows. That's right. Texas legend Steve Helms, the Party Foul Pub.
What's up, little buddy?
Steve.
Sorry, I was on my phone.
You know what I did over the weekend?
What'd you do?
Flew back from a week in Mexico.
Yes.
Doing some
Blame it
music
on
down
Mexico.
there. Yes.
How was your trip?
It was
Your
amazing.
Guitars and swim-up
Guitars
bars.
and swim-up bars. It was awesome.
That's a 7th trip to Mexico this year, I think.
Jealous.
Every time I turn around, you're in Mexico.
I am in the mood for some Mexico in my life.
Yes.
I think I need a little trip. I was supposed to be in Cabo 2 weeks. Instead, I'm going to be in luxurious Salt Lake City, Utah.
Wow.
That is beautiful.
I am excited about it. It is beautiful, but I kind of had my heart set on Cabo, and now
You
I
want to
can't
find
go.
you a new wife, Salt Lake?
An extra
Just
one.
another.
Oh, extra,
another.
not new, extra, yeah.
Wait a minute.
But don't Cabo and Salt Lake City kind of have the same vibe? Same party
No,
vibe?
they not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Not a
Almost
lot of the
extremely
same.
the opposite.
Yeah.
Candace has a thought there. I'm kind of wondering what it is.
I mean, they both have salt water, so there is that.
And they're
No.
both cities.
Yeah. I've never met any.
gosh.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Cabo has a lot of Mormons. I don't know. I've never really told.
I bet Jack Mormons go down there.
Yeah. They get mad at you. Start talking about those Jack Mormons. They don't like to be reminded. But those are my favorite Mormons. They really are. Glenn Beck's going to be so. Yeah, Glenn doesn't watch this show.
He didn't care about you.
He doesn't care what we do on here. Glenn is off the ranch. He's off the ranch. I think he's
Is that a
back,
metaphor?
back local.
Yeah.
No, he's been at his ranch,
Oh.
his secret location for a couple of months now. And Glenn, so
Do we
good
know
to
the
see him back
coordinates of
around.
this place at all?
What's that?
Do we know the coordinates of this place at all?
No, we don't, and we don't talk too
29.32.
much about it either. So choose thy words carefully. There'll be people who'll just like come rappelling down from the ceiling and stuff in the studio. Yeah. You have to talk, Natalie.
Yeah, I just learned today that is a very tall ceiling in these studios. I just took an
I
actual
think it's
official
taller than
tour.
they say.
Really? I think so too. It's
Yeah. I judge
tall.
everything. If I'm judging distances, I think about it in terms of a baseball field. So I know how far 60 feet is because that's the pitcher's rubber to the home plate. I know how far 90 feet is because that's the distance between bases, right? So I tend to look at it and I go, so when he said 60 feet, I said, oh, no, that's a lot further than 60 feet. That's not how far you pitch. That's a lot further. And then he said another part of it was 75. I was like, nope, further than that too.
Yeah.
What is this
Tall
ceiling?
building.
About 42?
I don't know. This is one of
No.
those you really got to look past the lights and all of the grids and all that stuff to even see the ceiling.
That's interesting. You think in baseball terms, because I
Probably
actually
about
have always
35
thought about
feet.
that in football terms of a football field. If you
Yeah.
have to travel 25 yards, if you have to travel 50 yards, that's
Yeah.
how I do the same exact thing.
It's
Helps.
just it gives you a physical
Frame of
parameter. by which-
reference.
This is an exciting show. We're
I
doing.
know.
It's
I
going to be
know.
fantastic.
Edge of your seat.
Yeah. No country that embraces the metric system has really ever done anything great. I'll just put it that way. But
But
yet
to me,
here we
you
are.
could put 37 guitar strings to get to the top.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh, gosh.
Well, for me, you can.
Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
there it is.
Now we're back.
Let's talk about Deborah. You remember me talking about Deborah, right? Deborah's one of those horror stories that you hear about when it comes to people that lose their home. That's right, I said lose their home. They took her home away. Got an eviction notice. She didn't sell a thing. She learned she was the victim of home title fraud, which is a devastating crime that can cost you your home. Home title fraud it's not covered. You think it's covered. Insurance companies and identity theft services, they're not going to touch that. The only folks to trust to protect your home's title, which, by the way, can be found online by cyber thieves, is Home Title Lock. Those cyber thieves I mentioned, they discover your title to your home that's online. They forge your name on the deed stating you sold your home, and they refile it as the new owner. They take out loans against it, and you get stuck with the payments. Well, that's what happened to Deborah. She didn't know she was a victim until the eviction notice arrived. Home Title Lock is going to put a virtual barrier around your home's title. The instant they detect tampering, they mobilize to shut down everything that those cyber thieves are doing. So first things first, go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and don't even know it. So I want you to use code CHAD. They'll give you 30 free days of protection. That's HometitleLock.com. Use code CHAD. We'll be right back. Rock and roll. Everybody's dying. They got the COVIDs. COVID's killing everybody.
I do know a lot more people who have gotten it lately,
Everybody's getting it.
but then they heal pretty quickly.
Everybody's getting it. You got that graphic with the little squares? You got that thing somewhere handy? I mean, that's the whole deal. I mean, if there was a bridge over a river, 99.7% chance that bridge would be okay when I walked across it.
Right.
I wouldn't swim the river. Right? I'm so over this. I saw a video the other day of people who were kissing wearing the masks. I like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
If it was really hot and the bridge was really hot, would you swim?
I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I mean, I see all this stuff that people are just going crazy. Like John MacArthur, pastor out in California. Everybody knows who John MacArthur is in the church world. He's been around forever. The guy's 200 years old. But he defied the court order to shut down and came out. And I've got people on there who are going, well, maybe Pastor John will get coronavirus and die, and then people will know how serious this is and how much more contagious it is than the flu.
Goodness.
Okay, it is more contagious than the flu, but it's also 10 times less likely that you're going to die from it compared to the flu.
But they don't want the person at Costco to get it, right?
Right.
Just the preacher.
Right. They don't want the preacher. They want the preacher to get it, but not at the Home Depot or the Lowe's or the Costco or the Walmart or wherever you take your ass out in public. And then you're going to come back and you're going to bitch about people who go do the things that you don't want to do. That's a fact.
I want to talk about the kissers.
You want to go back to the mask kissers? The masked
Okay,
kissers.
I only saw a picture of it. I didn't see a video. Did you see a video?
Yes.
So
I
are
took
they
a screenshot.
like, is their tongue, like, are they
No.
trying to stick their
No.
tongue through? I know, but I meant, how are you going to be a good kisser
Why
through
have
a
you got it?
mask?
They were just canoodling.
Natalie, come here. I'll show you.
Yeah. Everybody mask up and let's show Natalie how to French kiss with a, yeah.
I tried to
Well,
kiss Tony with
kissing's
our mask
important.
on, and she wouldn't let me even try. She's like, that is stupid.
Well, it is
Okay.
stupid. That's
Yeah,
my
I know,
point.
but-
That's my point. Kissing's important, and you're not going to be able to put your best foot forward with a mask. I'm upset about it.
No, it's not going. You're not going to stand. You're not going to be a very impressive kisser
No.
that way. Did we have that graphic or no? You got it. Slap that thing up there. I want y'all to take a look at this little chart right
Wow.
here. All right. Can we go full screen with it so folks can really, really see that thing or no? So this is the USA COVID numbers. This is July 19th of this year. Each little square represents 100,000 people. All right. The gray squares are the people who have been tested. The green are the people, those are the tests given in the green. You see in the blue, those are the squares of the people who have tested positive, and then you see the deaths from it. Okay, so down there around LA on that map, that shows you how many people have died in comparison to the rest of the United States. All right, each square represents 100,000 citizens. So I want you people to really let this sink in. Just look at it. Look at it. Just look at it, everybody. I want you to look at this graph. We are killing an economy. Mm-hmm. We're killing states. We're killing people. We're killing jobs. People are killing themselves.
Looks like we should stay away from the West Coast.
That's where it's all happening. Green, blue, and red, man.
Yeah.
But look at this. I'm not saying that people don't get it. People do get it. But my Lord, folks, I saw another video of this punk soy boy beta male. I'm embarrassed for the mental illness they're displaying with some of this stuff. This guy was standing on one of those distancing squares, and he was holding his hands out, and he was holding his hands out so nobody would get close to him. And he kept looking around on both sides of him to make sure nobody was walking up on him. And so somebody walked past him, and he was like, oh, my God, trying to get away from him. And when the person tried to hand him his food from across the counter, he reached as far as he could, like out on his toes, to get the food and pull it back. And I'm like, just go home, dude. Mm-hmm. He probably walked out in front of a Greyhound bus outside the sandwich shop. I mean, just go home.
If you're that scared, you need to be in a bubble.
Safetyism. It's safetyism. It's a new religion.
No.
Then he walked outside and lit a Winston.
Right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They still make Winstons.
God almighty,
That's still
dude.
a cigarette.
That tells how old Steve Adams is.
Back when Steve was touring in '68 with Fleetwood Mac. Let me tell you something. It's safetyism. It's a new religion. We raised a whole generation of people that were scared to scrape their knee and break a bone. Mm-hmm. And we didn't spank them. They never experienced any physical pain. They never heard the word no. And now this idea, I mean, like this morning or yesterday morning, I was riding and I was listening to the news on the satellite radio, and they were like talking about whatever the guy is that works for the Trump administration who tested positive for coronavirus, has now tested positive for the coronavirus. You never heard that crap whenever somebody was testing positive for the flu, you know? Mm-hmm. So-and-so Johnson, who works for the Trump administration, has tested positive for the flu. And that's a headline? Okay. Yes, I get it. You guys, y'all blew this whole thing up. You made it a major deal, made it a major event, and somebody said, I mean, look at the graph of Sweden. If you go back, and I posted it on my Twitter over the weekend, they flattened the curve. Sweden did. Without, everybody's like, oh, well, let's be more like Sweden. They're socialist and all blah, 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 blah. Well, there's less people in Sweden, first of all. There's 5 million compared to 335 million in this country. They flattened the curve without destroying the economy. But you know why they were able to do it? Because they don't have an election in November of 2020, and they're not having widespread Trump derangement syndrome that's going on like we do. And it's absolutely just, I'm over it. I can't believe it anymore. Kissing with a mask on. Mm-mm. And then they want us to pass mandates that say that you should have to wear the mask while you're at home.
Right.
They're going to fine people for not wearing the masks. What, Steve?
The fact that somebody's even coming up with this idea.
Yeah.
And people are going to do it is amazing to me.
Yep.
You're going to go in every freaking household and make sure, like at bedtime, we're going to open every door in the house.
Not a
Bed
chance.
check. You got your masks on? Really?
No.
But it's okay to go out there and protest and riot and do all that stuff by the thousands.
Which is still happening daily.
Yeah.
It's...
North Korea has declared an emergency as the first suspected COVID-19 case is reported. That's right.
The first one?
That's right. They locked down a border town after a person was suspected of being infected, and the person returned from South Korea after illegally crossing the border. Kim Jong-un probably set that village on fire.
I was going to say, probably going to be executed.
Yeah. But that's the first case acknowledged by them. So there you go. So North Korea, they're under a major crisis with one person.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see what happens. Steve Mnuchin said, of course, he's the Secretary of Treasury. He said that they're going to send another round of $1,200 coronavirus stimulus checks in August. All right. What do you think about that, Stevie Powell?
I've already got it spent.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
I didn't
Bring
get
it
my
on.
first one.
Mm-hmm. You didn't get the first one?
Nope.
I'm waiting on
What's
my
up
third.
with that,
I
rich
don't know.
girl?
Make too
You're
much
a rich
You
girl,
make too much money.
and you're gone too far because you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money. It's a bitch, girl.
But we
And
were all affected. So we
But
should all
maybe
get a
you
check.
owe back child support
I owe
because you don't
child
get
support?
it. I don't know. I'm just saying those are some of the reasons.
I haven't got one either.
You make too much money.
Because you owe child support?
You rich people.
Okay.
You really
Child
do make me
support.
sick.
Whatever. You
No.
didn't get one either.
I work for a living.
Pelosi.
Huh?
I work for a living. I make money.
True.
Yeah, I want them to go. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Oh man. Then you had in Austin. You had the riots going on. They're not protests anymore, and unlike what Jerry Nadler said when he called it peaceful protests, they're not peaceful. People are getting shot. People are getting stabbed. They're vandalizing, painting graffiti on stuff. They're tearing up property. They're harassing people. There's assault that's going on, and I it's been so satisfying to watch some of the videos of these National Guardsmen and the feds just take it to some of these people. I mean, this girl's like, "What are you gonna do to me? What are you gonna do to me? What the F are you gonna do?" You know,
And they did it.
and they did it. And she found out what the F, you know, effing what? And then she bowed up on him.
Again, that goes back to you saying that that's one of those people that their mom never raised their hand to them one time.
Gotta beat that ass.
Got to beat that ass.
You gotta beat that ass.
Well, now the police are saying that they're all suing the cities.
Yeah.
Because, they're starting the fight and then the
Well,
police.
that was probably their intention to start
Sure.
with.
Why not? Let's
so
sue them.
the MO for all of those groups has been we're gonna get in your face, we're gonna shout you down, we're gonna do all these things, but we're not gonna touch you, right? They're trying to pick the fight so that the other
somebody
people
else
start
can video
the fight.
it.
Yeah,
And then they can be litigious.
because it's all about the video. So here's what I say: do you want to protest? If you want to protest and you want to turn it into that riot scenario, I say we just send out a little electromagnetic pulse, right? And we just kill all the cell phones. Everything just it goes
nice.
out. Because you take away the attention they're getting from it, and it ain't gonna matter, right? Let's cut the cameras and let's go to it. But here's the irony of the whole thing that I was thinking about yesterday. The irony of the whole thing is this. This all supposedly started to fight police brutality. So now you're going to go out and engage in activity that actually encourages police brutality. You are going to continue to foster the stereotypes that lead to the police brutality. You're going to act like a shithead, and then when you get treated like the shithead you are, you're going to
bitch about it.
You're going to bitch about it and say, I was treated like a shithead. Well, you acted like a shithead. And then from now on, when they see you coming, they're going to go, here comes the shithead.
And guess how they're going to treat you?
Just like one of those
Like a
shitheads.
shithead.
That's what's going to happen, Candace. Yeah. I mean, that's just the only way I know to put it.
That's why I'm all for water cannons.
Me too.
And you just plow them
And
down.
here's the thing. I see all these news things where they're showing pictures of this lady was hit by a rubber bullet. This is what this looks like. Better be glad you weren't knocked down by a 9mm hollow point parabellum. I mean, how about that? Because that's what you probably should be getting. And in a country where our military and our police force exists to liberate and serve, be glad they don't oppress. Most of the world oppresses.
Correct.
So be glad it's a rubber bullet or a beanbag or you got pepper sprayed, which is a bitch. No, I mean, I saw this one kid. He was crying, "Why? Why? I didn't do anything. Why?" You should have stayed home in the basement, son. I mean, it's real simple. You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. I don't know how many different ways I can tell you all that. Birds of a feather flock together, baby. I mean, what are we talking about? This is simple wisdom. This is simple wisdom. You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. But then the Bible says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so does a fool to his folly. And that's exactly what we see. These people keep coming out doing the exact same stuff over and over again and getting the same results. Just keep on coming back to the vomit. And what are you going to do? I mean, think about it. George Floyd got murdered. And that was a horrible situation. Was George Floyd a martyr? No. Was George Floyd... I saw an article this week that compared George Floyd to Jesus Christ. Now, they called it the crucifixion of George Floyd. That both were innocent and both gave their lives for a movement. And I'm like, yeah, but Jesus wasn't high on fentanyl, meth, and weed, right? He wasn't out there spending counterfeits. And I don't remember that part, whether it was Matthew or John, that talks about Jesus holding a gun to a pregnant woman's belly. Now I got people saying, oh, you know that never happened. Oh, yeah, I know, because George Floyd was a saint. Now, I'm not excusing what happened on the part of that cop.
Correct.
But give me a break. Give me a break. You're using that as an excuse. You know good and well George Floyd. George Floyd is a perfect example. I'm just being honest here. George Floyd's a perfect example of that. Those guys, they said, there goes George. There goes George. Because they knew who George was, because you know what? George has run across the law a lot of different times, right? A lot of stuff about that don't add up. But at the same time, tragic what happened. But now you're out there just fostering more of the same environment. That's why stereotypes exist, because people like you continue to do the same thing over and over again.
Chad, my children really didn't know racism until all of this happened.
Until all of this stuff happens.
Now we're having to teach them.
We're going to take a break. We're going to take a little break. I want to come back. I'm going to define racism for you. Truly define it fairly. And then you can ask yourself if we're a racist nation or if you yourself are a racist individual. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Well. That's not COVID. Are you pouting?
No.
You pouting a little bit?
Pouting.
You want to have a good cry?
My hair's flat.
No, it's not.
A little flat.
Let me tell you, I'm so tired of talking about racism. I get it. Look, it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Haven't we been having it?
But we've been having it. But I don't know that we've ever had it correctly. Because when it's a movement like Black Lives Matter, you can't do enough. If we could eradicate any hate that exists because of differences of skin color or prejudice because of skin color, are you telling me that Al Sharpton would shut up and go away?
No.
Or BLM would quit collecting money? 7 years BLM's been in existence. $1 billion collected. $1 billion in 7 years. That's a pretty good return on an investment right there. Tell me one major thing off the top of your head that BLM has done for the black community. One major thing.
Paint those signs they hold during the marches.
But what's that doing for the black community?
Well,
have they had a cleanup? I'm being
carry.
serious. Have they had a cleanup day?
No, I'd love to know where the $1 billion has gone.
I can tell you where it's gone. I can tell you exactly where it's gone. Our guest, David Smalley from last week, he's a liberal. He admitted where it's gone. He said, I mean, it's gone. And I've seen several commentators. They all agree. It's gone to white liberal candidates. It's going to Joe Biden right now. People say, well, of course, the liberal candidates are the people who have supported the black community. No, they have destroyed the black community by keeping them dependent on the government. They have. Go back and listen to what LBJ said. All right, his Great Society. Listen to what his plan was. So, racism at the end of the day is when I look at somebody, or you look at somebody, or they look at me, and because of skin color, they withhold something. Right? Did I make your nose red by?
Is it red?
No, just a little pink right there.
Including
during the
knowledge.
break, we tried out the kissing thing with the masks. And anyway,
Red nose.
it's withholding something from someone because of the color of their skin. Those are my words, right? But that's not why things get withheld from people. It's not because of the melanin and the pigmentation in your epidermis, okay? It's not what it's about. So the idea that racism exists, that's not what people mean. People talk about structural racism, they talk about systemic racism, and those are the things that we're supposedly fighting. And no, I have a hard time when somebody uses the phrase systemic racism now, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can prove me wrong, but show me where systemic racism, that is racism that is built into the system. Now, using the definition of racism, I'm not talking about prejudice, I'm talking about racism. I have a problem. I'm going to withhold something from you because of your race, the color of your skin. Tell me where systematically something is built into the system because of the color of your skin that something's going to be withheld from you. I don't know where that is. You want to be a cop? Go be a cop. Scott Husing, just last night, said on this show, in the military community, it's diverse. He talked about all of it. What's being withheld? You can be General Colin Powell. You can be a Joint Chief. You can be the top general.
The benefits of affirmative action have been withheld from me.
Not because of your skin color, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he's right.
Is that why?
Yeah.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
But the benefits of affirmative action,
Like maybe
are
a
withheld
black
from
scholarship.
me because I'm a white male.
A black scholarship.
but
Am I eligible
That's in
for a
the
black
system.
scholarship if I were going to college?
Right.
I don't know.
You're not.
Right.
Now, could you get into Morehouse College in Atlanta, which is a historically black college and university? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to school there. They're not going to tell you no. How welcome would you be if you do it? I don't know. I mean, that would be, I don't know. But Steve brings up a point right there that we don't need to belabor it in a long way, but, the argument there would be you don't need affirmative action because you're white and therefore privileged. See, if you recreate the narrative and the reality, you can throw terminology around like that, and that is ultimately how people perceive the world as working. So whites are privileged, blacks are oppressed. And apparently, I guess, those are the only two races that exist or matter, right? Forget red and yellow and brown. It's just all about black and white right now. I mean, remember the kids in the cages? Is that still a thing? I don't know. Are there still Mexicans trying to cross the border? Are there Guatemalans, Hondurans, El Salvadorans, Nicaraguans? Are they still trying to come across? Anybody from South America? Does any of that matter anymore? You remember that? Remember AOC crying at suddenly they don't matter anymore. What happened to the brown people that were in the cages? And AOC just crying.
Now we have COVID.
Like Natalie.
No more
COVID
issues.
now.
Just COVID.
But
And
you got two things happening here, two dynamics. You have the coronavirus that says isolate and separate, and then you have Antifa, BLM, and the protesters / rioters who are not peaceful. I mean, our friend Black Rebel on social media, Drew, got stabbed in Portland, Oregon by a guy with a big knife. I talked to him this morning via text. He's going to come on the show. Elijah Schaefer was up there, videotaped the whole thing. There was a shooting in there was a shooting in Austin, right? Here's the guy walking around with his AR-15, and he's talking about, they're a bunch of P words anyway, and people, they're not acting right, so it's my right to carry this rifle. 3 hours later, he was dead because he approached somebody's car, which is not something you should do in Texas.
No.
And they shot him, and he's dead. Dead. D-E-A-D, people. They're not coming. You don't come back from dead. You're playing with lives here, people. You don't come back from dead. Dead is forever. You know the old Sunday school thing. If a dove flew past a marble the size of the moon, every 1,000 years it brushed that piece of marble with the tip of its wing. Every 1,000 years, by the time it was as small as a quarter, eternity has just begun.
I miss that day of Sunday school.
Yeah. See, that's a long time. Forever is forever.
How old is this freaking
Vacation Bible school. I missed it.
Where do I find this piece of marble? You're dead, right? Stop playing with your life and the lives of others. Live and let die.
How big was that dove?
It's a regular sized dove, Steve. It's just a little mourning dove.
Oh, that's sweet. Wrapped in bacon, buddy.
But that's the whole thing. I'm tired of this. Then you had you said there were protesters in the Antifa in Weatherford, Texas over the weekend. Parker County, Texas.
Turned into a pretty good little scuffle from what I saw on the news. I know zero details about it. I was
Wait,
gone.
what was it?
But I saw
Antifa? People were protesting against Antifa?
Parker County Courthouse.
Antifa were the protesters. Okay.
Y'all coming to the wrong neighborhoods. Look, as long as y'all want to keep doing this stuff in these unarmed urban areas, that's one thing. But y'all gonna mess around and come down to some of these places where it ain't gonna end so well. It's not gonna end well. It's this. I'm sorry. Yeah, Texas might be leaning a little purplish these days, a little more towards the blue. But I promise you, it ain't gonna end well. You keep that crap somewhere else. You want to do it in Austin, that's one thing. But don't be coming to Weatherford, Texas. That's just not going to go well. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. There's some folks out there that are saying, you know, we're ready to clean up the streets. I hope it doesn't come to that. I really do. Mm-hmm. Because if it does, it's going to be very bad. And dead is dead. All right, we'll be right back. I still try to figure out why Steve even comes in here sometimes. I mean, Party Foul's like, I'm just here, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's clarify which Steve we're talking about here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, Steve, you have guests that'll come in and Steve's like, well, you know we're in 53 million homes. And then he's over there,
Well, I'm trying to inform myself, and I didn't know it was a video going to pop up and play
the
super
Weatherford
loud
video?
So Weatherford, I mean, this is from livingbluetx.com. Mm-hmm. The headline says, violent racists swarm protest in Weatherford. So it got ugly. Protesters were attacked. What's going on in North Texas, y'all? There's so much happening in these small rural towns. This is by Michelle, by the way. No last name.
Just Michelle?
Yeah, just Michelle. And she said, this is the bias that just interesting. What you see in the first video shows how volatile the situation was. Think about the clash in Charlottesville in 2017. Captured a girl holding the video camera. She captured a white man pushing a girl. That's when another man became upset and lunged for pusher. Then the white man pulled out a knife. She actually said the white man pulled out at knife. When the young lady mentioned she caught it on video, the knife wielder knocked her phone out of her hand. That's just the first video.
Are they only identifying the white person by being white man?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I mean, and again, it comes down to monuments, right? It comes down to this whole thing. People want to, it's insane. And look, I'm not telling you, I read the same social media you do. I see some horrible comments made by white people. And, what are you going to do? I have people say, you need to delete these. Well, I can't go through and I see and delete millions of comments, literally hundreds of thousands a day that pop up. So anyway, I'm just saying there's ideologies, and those ideologies aren't going to match. They're not going to mix well, and you're just creating a powder keg. So anyway, it's like Steve and his wife. And Nancy Pelosi called Trump Mr. Make Matters Worse. Mr. Make Matters Worse.
Again, let's clarify which Steve you're talking about.
Of course, that's Stephen.
No, that was both of you.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. So, I mean, and that's why I say, Jerry Nadler, he calls violence from Antifa in Portland a myth. So, I don't know. Somebody, you had, our buddy Austin Fleckus. And I saw the picture of him and DC Drano and those guys, typical liberal. They saw Nadler. And Austin said, I ran into Jerry Nadler in D.C. and asked him to disavow the Antifa violence rioting in Portland. His response, that's a myth. Before getting into his car, Nadler tells Fletcher that it's a myth that's being spread only in Washington, D.C. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Jerry Nadler out there in the street with him, his little roly-poly 4 foot?
Trying to keep his pants up.
Yeah. He's got other problems.
And like I said, our buddy Drew, he got stabbed. Elijah Schaefer, our very own Elijah Schaefer, with the Blaze, is up there. Says Elijah Schaefer, a member of conservative media company Blaze Media, also reacted to the encounter. He said, Portland is at war every night, but Jerry Nadler says my video coverage of Antifa violence and vandalism is a myth. Antifa is very real, and they are incredibly dangerous. So, and I've seen Elijah who said, look, you won't come at me anymore. We're fighting back. So that's kind of the mindset. People are just tired of it. I mean, people are absolutely tired of it. So we'll see what happens. Natalie, you want to wrestle?
Again?
Yeah. We can wrestle and like work on our skills.
With masks on.
Yes.
I'm anti-mask.
I mean, like wrestling masks. I think that would be.
Oh.
Like Lucha Libre
Yeah.
masks.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre.
No, Lucha Libre.
I'll
I know who
Nacho
Nacho Libre is, but they're called Lucha Libre masks. Yeah. Hi. I have had a diarrhea since Easter's. I do not want these chips. Those are the orphans' chips.
Gosh.
That's a chipmunk. That is the orphans' chips. That is a chipmunk. I do not want any more of this. This food is horrible. I have had a diarrhea since the Easters. Well, it's one of my all-time favorites. Nacho Libre. That's great. Big kiss, little kiss, big hug, little hug, little kiss, big hug. Oh, Candace. Oh, you live over here now. See, you could have been back over there towards Parker County. You could have gotten in on that protest.
I'm sad I missed it.
I'm sad you missed it, too. I wanted some. I'm going to go out there and start pulling an Elijah Schaefer. I just don't know. Like, Elijah, you got to give it to that cat for going out and doing what he does. I mean, he jumps right in the middle of it. And, yeah.
That's brave.
It's pretty brave.
Mm-hmm.
But he's good at what he does. You know. Antifa was putting out, that he was there in Portland. I mean, he's kind of got a target on his back in that regard.
He's taping just myth.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Some interesting stuff. And, I pray for Elijah. I do, because he's
Dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Definitely.
Dangerous stuff. But I don't know, man. You got to stop. But they're not going to because again, it's that safetyism culture. Now, everybody's going to die from coronavirus. Oh, my God. But those same people are going to take to the street, breathe all over each other. And, they're not worried about it out there. They'll go out there and stab each other, pull knives on each other. But, God forbid you go into the restaurant, go into the Applebee's and try to get to a table without a bandana around your face. It's pure
Applebee's.
Pure bacon, cheese, and chicken.
Welcome
back.
I went to the Gaylord this weekend with family and friends. We were just hanging out, and at the water park, I saw these two guys. One had a MAGA hat on, and one had a Trump 2020. Walking among, just having a good time with everybody, with every race out there hanging out. But I said, "Hey, I like your hat." One of them was a South African, and he said, "I wish people really knew what true racism was, because where I'm from, it's real."
Yeah.
Really real.
And it's been real in this country, right?
Yeah.
And it has been real in
That's
this
true.
country.
Absolutely.
But we've made strides. You got to remember, without certain white people stepping up to end things, it would think about how bad it would still be if it was an acceptable norm, right? But thankfully, people do grow. Cultures grow. They do evolve and expand and develop and become more intelligent. And go back if you want to tear something down, tear down the theory of evolution. Tear down the theory of evolution. That is a racist philosophy. On the origin of species, Charles Darwin wrote, and the preservation of the favored races for life. There's more to it, but the preservation of favored races, that's the subtitle for his origin of species. The preservation of favored races. What's a favored race? Take it all the way back to where we started this thing. What is racism? I mean, you telling me there's favored races? Basically what he was saying was, in a nutshell, you have some that aren't as evolved as others. Some are still more ape-like, if you will. Now you can hear just the overt racism that's in that implication right there.
Right.
So you want to start tearing stuff down? Tear down Planned Parenthood. Tear down evolution. Tear it all down. They're all built on racist philosophies. I'm just trying to solve the world's problems. And we'll be right back. Elijah tweeted earlier today, said, I just red-pilled a large group of protesters, doxed myself, got them to follow my work, and bounced out real quick. Goodbye, Portland. See you soon. Dressed differently, but with the same camera to expose the darkness and reveal the truth. Headed to D.C. to cover COVID. And I hit like. Elijah's doing a great job, man. Slightly offensive. You can find it on Blaze and also on his YouTube. Man, I need to sleep for about a week is what I need to do, Natalie.
I know. I would agree. You do
you're
need some
such a
rest.
softie.
No, you need some rest.
Your heart's so
You've
soft.
been really short with all of us today.
I don't care.
See, that's my point, sir.
And
Like-
scene.
Like I care.
You pay me. You talk to me however you want.
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
take it.
I ain't in the mood for nobody's crap. So I think I'll go on the news and why it matters and give some to Sarah Gonzalez too.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yeah. Sarah give it right back. She brings a razor.
She's impregnated. She's very
She'll cut
hormonal
you.
right now, dude. You don't need to do that.
She'll cut you. Hey, folks, stay safe. Don't get the COVIDs. Point three. Just remember, I'm looking around, seeing who's going to get it and go. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Come hang out with us, Tomball, Texas, this weekend. Steve and Steve will both be there. Texas Legends going to get on stage and play with us.
Unless you piss us off the rest of the day.
Look,
You're coming. Shut up.
I'll piss on you. I'll piss you off. I don't care. As long as there's some pissing.
Where else are you going besides Tomball?
Salt Lake City. Then where are we going?
Isn't
We're
that
going
like-
to Port Charlotte, Florida.
Isn't that
Gotta
like
wait.
Cabo?
Huh?
Isn't that like Cabo?
It's sort of just like it, yeah.
And
And then
bring
we're
it
going to
back
go,
around.
I think we got shows in Georgia, got shows in Tennessee, shows in Mississippi.
Casper? Casper, Wyoming, and that.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Casper, Wyoming. We're going to be there on the 20th of August. But Willie's trying to really book us a bunch of cities after the Port Charlotte thing, so stay tuned to that. The best way to do that is go to watchchad.com. It's where all the fun stuff is. And subscribe to the Blaze, blazetv.com/Chad. Get it all for one easy payment of $9,000 a year.
Are you doing Billy
kidding.
Bob's?
$80. August 23rd, Billy Bob's, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas. You may as well come hang out with us there, too. Texas Legend will be there for that one, too.
I hope
on stage.
Natalie will be there.
I'm going to go.
Nat will be
Cool.
there. That's a big room.
You go to watch
I
Chad to get your
publicly
tickets.
apologize to Natalie for busting her balls earlier when she was. We weren't on the thing.
It was off
during the
camera.
break.
Nobody
I know,
knows.
but they know now, and I apologize. I love you. God bless. Bye.